Hey, what's going on, guys? And today we are going to be looking at the current NHL playoff matchup. So we're looking at if the playoffs were today, what would the matchups be and who would win? Watch to the end to find out. No, not doing it. So today, guys, we are going to be looking at the 2018-2019 current NHL playoff matchup. So basically what we're going to be looking at is if the playoffs started today, who would be facing one another and who would possibly even make the playoffs. No, can't. Hey, what's going on, guys? And today, Hey, what's going on? No. So today, guys, we are going to be looking at the 2018-2019 NHL current playoff matches, and we will tell you who will win So today, guys, we're going to be looking at the 2018-2019 current NHL playoff matchups and what we think of this. Try to set this goal to 5 likes. Try to get me to 20 subscribers. I know, lame, right? And let's jump into it. No, what? Why? So today, guys, we are going to be looking at the 2018-2019 current NHL playoff matchups and what we think of them. Like goal is 5. Try to get me to 20 subscribers. That would be much greatly appreciated, and let's jump into it. Actually, before we get into it, we're going to be looking at the teams in the hunt for the playoffs. So then we will be looking at the current NHL playoff matchups and what we think of them and who will win those. Right now in the hunt, Columbus is trailing Montreal by 2 points. Now, something that's weird is Columbus really wants to win. We can tell that. Before the trade deadline, we weren't really sure if Jarmo Kekalainen or John Tortorella really wanted to win that bad. And they haven't even got past a first round in their existence of the NHL. So they really want to get past the first round for their fan base. And with doing multiple moves at the trade deadline, they're only 2 points trailing Montreal to get into the playoffs. So they better move Montreal out of the playoffs. So it's basically Columbus and Montreal trying to fight. Right now Montreal's in. Columbus is trying to fight. And I bet you if Columbus does not make the playoffs, Jarmo Kekalainen will get fired sometime this year. Well, after this year, because then we'll know when the playoff starts. Also in the hunt, Philadelphia is trailing Montreal by 5 points. So Philadelphia and Columbus are really the closest. Buffalo, Florida, Rangers, New Jersey, Detroit, and Ottawa are also in the hunt, but not really that close. Philadelphia was interesting because they were coming into the season with high hopes. They were slowing down. They got really a lot of injured goalies. The Carter Hart was very controversial. They were saying, Carter Hart should be in the AHL. Why is he in the NHL? He's too early to be in the NHL. It's his first year of pro hockey, like AHL, NHL, because he was just coming off his last year of the WHL. But right now, Carter Hart is on the injured reserve, I think, last time I checked. And right now, I think the goalies are Elliott and Talbot. So they got Neuwirth, which they're probably going to deal at the off-season, unless he's a RF or a UFA. Then we'll see. Then he'll probably go anyway, unless Talbot goes somewhere or Elliott goes somewhere. Maybe Hart can step up and be the backup. I don't think he's sure ready yet, so maybe one more year after this year in the AHL, then he'll be all right. I can't see Philadelphia making it, even with Columbus even further on them. And then on the Western Conference, Arizona's trailing Minnesota by 2 points. So Minnesota is now in. Bruce Boudreau, actually, the coach of the Minnesota Wild, said they were bound. Bruce Boudreau was like, we're going to make the playoffs no matter what. Now, I don't know, will he get fired if they don't make the playoffs? Because he even said himself, if we don't make the playoffs, we're going to make the playoffs. That's what he said. Arizona's in the hunt too, and Arizona coming off a really good season, and with a lot of injured players like Jason Demers, Michael Grabner, Antti Raanta, their starting goaltender. Darcy Kemper has really been solid. They acquired Calvin Pickard off waivers, and now they could make the playoffs. But Arizona, Minnesota, one more that's in the hunt. Colorado is trailing Minnesota by only 3 points. So Arizona and Colorado and Minnesota are all in the hunt. Colorado I thought they would be better this season. They started off really good. They got one of the best first lines, in my opinion, Rantanen, Landeskog, and McKinnon. That is a filthy line, but they're just not able to get it done. Varlamov has been good, but other than that, really not a great team. Hopefully they can get into the playoffs, but there's a lot of other good teams that are trying to make their way into the playoffs. Right now, looking at the Eastern Conference matchups, first matchup is Tampa-Montreal. Now this series, I'd like to say that this series will go to Tampa. It's almost more than 50% likely that the Tampa Bay Lightning will win the Cup. Tampa Bay-Calgary would be an amazing Stanley Cup final, in my opinion. Tampa-Montreal, I really don't think Montreal can match up to the Tampa Bay's speed. Goaltending, I know, I can't believe I'm saying this, but Price does not match up to Vasilevsky. Like, 5 years ago, maybe 2 or 3 years ago, I would not be saying that. I would be saying the opposite. Price does not match up to Vasilevsky. But that is true, that would be the opposite. Right now, Vasilevsky is in contention of a Vezina Trophy. I think he won it last year, if I'm correct. He did. But Tampa, I think, should probably take this one. You never know, it could be a good series. You never know with the NHL, but I think Tampa wins this game. Now, one of the most interesting current playoff matchups, Boston-Toronto. Now, it's interesting because Toronto could be facing Montreal. Even if Toronto goes ahead of Boston, that still makes... So I'd kind of rather be third or second than be fourth, because Montreal's fourth in our conference and is taking on Tampa in the first round. So even if we face second or third, we have a better chance of winning, even getting past the first round. And something that, I don't know if I'm the only one who thinks it, but I'd rather lose in the third round than lose in the Stanley Cup final, because we work so hard and then we just blow it. I'd rather lose in round 3 or round 2 than blowing it all in the Stanley Cup final. That's my opinion. I'd rather not blow it when we have the chance, because we're simply not ready. But I don't know. I'd like to say Boston, but I'd like to say Toronto because Toronto's my team, but it's hard to say. It's hard to say. Say it goes to Game 7. Last year it went to Game 7, and it don't. I don't want to talk about it. Washington-Pittsburgh would be a great first-round matchup. Usually they meet in the second round, but now they meet in the first because it's a little bit different. Washington-Pittsburgh. Washington did look a little shaky in the mid-year. Holtby did not look so great. Now they got it better with Ovechkin and all that. Pittsburgh is actually trying to fight for playoff contention right now. They are in the playoffs, but there's two other teams looking to get in, so that'd be interesting. I think Carolina is in the hunt too. Carolina's actually not in the hunt. Carolina is in the playoffs. We'll get to them later. Washington, Pittsburgh. I'd like to say Pittsburgh, but with the way the Washington's been very inconsistent this year, but I'm going to say Washington if they keep playing like they are playing now. Next matchup is the Islanders and the Carolina Hurricanes. Now this is very interesting. Both of these teams seem like they were going to be one of the worst teams in the Eastern Conference, and yet the Islanders are doing insanely good. I hate their fans though. Don't. True 91 I can't say it. Well, I don't want to talk about the Toronto Islanders game. That was just the worst game in a long time. Islanders-Carolina again. Carolina's been really successful. I'm still mad we got rid of McElhinney. I really hope Sparks is gone next season. Hutchison better be the backup. I don't care about the Marlies. Sparks can go in the Marlies, get traded. I don't know. Do his shenanigans. But Islanders-Carolina would be a very good series. I don't even know who would win because they're both surprisingly, it looked like the Islanders were really a lot better, but Carolina's really not that worse than them. Carolina only needs to win 2 more games. The Islanders need to lose their next games, and Carolina has more points than the Islanders. Carolina and the Islanders should be a great series. I say with Islanders taking this one. I really do. Now we move on to the Western Conference matchups, Calgary, Minnesota, and I see Calgary taking this. It's kind of a no-brainer. Minnesota is even struggling to get into the playoffs, and it's a typical Bruce Boudreau may even get fired if they don't. He even said, so that should be interesting, but I see Calgary taking this one. Next matchup, San Jose and Vegas. This one's a very interesting one. San Jose, on the other hand, has been really good. I watched one of their games last night, and it was really, really overpowered by San Jose. They were facing Chicago, and San Jose poured it on like the entire game. They're offensive, and they were missing Kane and Carlson, so. But Vegas has been really shocking. Not as good as they were last year, but still very good. Fleury, I think if the person to save them and maybe sneak in a round 1 dub in the playoffs for Vegas, it's got to be Fleury. Fleury was actually named first star of the week with 2 shutouts, 3-0-0 this week, so very good for him, but I see San Jose for taking this one as a no-brainer. Next matchup, Winnipeg and Dallas right now. Now, Dallas is another one of those teams where as I said, Dallas is a very weird team. Dallas is actually leading in the regular season series, playing 3 games. Dallas leads 2-1 in this regular season series. Still have 1 more matchup left to go. Winnipeg has been very inconsistent. They have their good times. They went on their 5-game losing streak. They lost against Colorado, lost against teams they probably should have bet. Dallas, on the other hand, has bet in St. Louis actually 2 times, snapping their streak actually multiple times. Dallas has been very inconsistent as well. Tough to say. Winnipeg looks like they should win this one, but on paper, it looks like they should win one. But with both teams being very inconsistent, it's very hard to tell. And last but not least, maybe the best playoff series in the first round, my opinion, Nashville, St. Louis. I watched 2 of these games because they played on February the 9th, February the 10th on an afternoon game, both afternoon games. And both of them were hard-fought, very, very physical games, and maybe the St. Louis Blues would be dead last without Jordan Binnington. Jake Allen has really picked up his game as of late, though, too. But Binnington, it's tough to say. As I said, a few videos ago, I said, who would be the starter, Binnington or Allen? I think that's what I said. And I think still going to be Allen, but Binnington has not very much, doesn't have much experience at all. And with Allen, he's played in a couple of playoff series. Binnington has been better, so maybe Binnington and Allen will split some games. I think Nashville's been very inconsistent this year. One of the most inconsistent good teams. Nashville is I don't know, and you can never know, because with Rene last year in the playoffs, in the first and second round, Rene has problems with his concentration because every time he played in Winnipeg, because apparently the Winnipeg Stadium is one of the loudest. They have one of the best fan bases, and he couldn't concentrate, so that could be the reason. So that might affect the Nashville Predators, but right now I actually see St. Louis taking that, believe it or not. Oh god, I have a sore throat now. That's great. Let me know what your predictions are. I may do playoff predictions whenever the playoffs start. Let me know what you think of my playoff predictions. I just made whoever's going to win. But as it gets closer, these matchups are going to change almost every night. So it's going to be different every night. But this is just what I think of them. I thought I'd do one. Let me know what you think of them down in the comments below, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.